All right, so in this video, I'm going to talk about this coin recommended to me by a good friend, Matt. Shout out to Matt. He is an AriasWave member, long-time member since the beginning. And he identified this D-wave pattern unfolding with the AriasWave corrective portion complete of the B wave. So I thought I'd share this in order to escape the the slowness of some coins at the moment, such as XLM, in order to place a trade on a coin that looks like it's actually going to move rather than just being stagnant because of its, being stuck in a C wave still. Now, looking at this pattern, yes, it started in 2020 roughly. But the thing about it is that it follows the Bitcoin pattern to an extent. Yeah, I mean, all these altcoins kind of do. If they have this particular pattern, it's becoming a bit clearer now as to what that means because of my latest Bitcoin analysis. So, quite fittingly, we're in a D wave. So, what does it mean this is? Well, this is the end of a B wave because the Bitcoin B wave ended around the same time, right? So, what that means is that, okay, we all know that a 5 wave move down is not a correction. Okay. So this here is not a complete correction, and that's because it's part of the Bitcoin pattern, right? The C wave ended down here. We got a pop for wave A of wave D. Okay. So yes, this is a wave. Let me just borrow this one here. It's a wave C, right? So wave D currently in progress up here. So I'm going to show you how to get into this trade. And something really cool that I noticed at the small degree, which helps you get in even though it started to move already, right? So the target for this is about zero point zero 0.03 from 0.009. Okay, so it's a pretty decent move with the C wave being about 400% roughly, right? So what that means is that we had an A, B, C, D. So I'll just zoom into this. And I've been tracking these moves very closely, and so far it looks really good. The setup's really, really, really good. So this was an A wave, just basically an expanded. I'd call it a type 1. Wouldn't call it a type 2. And the reason for that is because the internal B wave ended below the end of wave A, right? So it did a bit of this, right? So that's a wave A. We had a B, a C, and a D, and an E. Nice little spot for the move to begin, right? Now, obviously, this has just been brought to my attention. So I did the analysis, pulled it apart completely. And what this is telling me right now is that it's basically okay. So let me go to the 1 hour chart to explain this part. So, what's happened here is that wave one occurred, small wave one. We had an A, a B, a C, a D, and an E. Now, E created this new support, right? So this is why I call this a type 2 expanded correction, is because the wave E ended way above the initial move. So this is entirely corrective. So that tells you that there's bullishness behind this move. It'll turn into a 5 wave move. Now, for this idea to remain intact, we can't break below that level. So as you can see, price has been going pretty low, but not breaking that level, right? So this is really cool. So once we did create the wave E, we had a wave one, had an A, B, C, D, E, small degree moves. This is really cool, right? This is similar to when I got into the Bitcoin trade when it was in wave two, and then it went up for wave three. So all these types of moves, they're okay if you have a target. And like I just told you up above, there's a target, a 0.03, something like that. I'll put the details down below. But zooming in even more, you can see the picture. Now, I went to the minute chart to do my analysis, but we had wave 1, A, B, C, D, E, and we recently just had a tiny bounce off support, which didn't touch the line. It's not allowed to, but it came pretty close, right? It was very close, super close, as you're going to get. Any lower than that, the idea is null and void. So from this point on, we need to break this mini high here, which is like 0.009459. So the last little mini pivot, basically high, to confirm that this move is going to continue up. So that's a very short stop right there with small wave identification at the small degree, right? I'll put this information down below and the target. So this here is looking like a bullish move to the upside in wave C of a wave D, right? Now, I believe Bitcoin is currently in the process of topping out, but I do think that during this time it might hang around the highs a bit longer because there's a lot of bullishness in that move, right? And Bitcoin, you can do the impossible. Doesn't mean it's going to continue in a bull market, but it can definitely pop a little higher than the first move, which is the measured move. It's already hit the target and exceeded it, but Bitcoin tends to do things that you don't expect. So this is why I believe that we are going to continue in this altcoin type, I suppose, altcoin type season of moves that is happening. But in saying that, I think caution is advised, especially when we get to the highs, because I'm also gonna cover some other coins too, because this pattern recognition is very interesting. I've noticed it in other coins like Solana and Cardano. And over the weekend, I'm going to be producing my ideas for these moves, how to trade them, and what I think the correction is doing in order to prepare us for that move. Now, that correction may have already completed for wave B, but that doesn't mean you can't trade it once it moves a little higher, because those are pretty big moves and they haven't really gotten started yet in terms of the C wave. Now, this is just a mini D wave. Those D waves in some of those markets, they're pretty big. Like Solana has only created like the A wave, and this sort of stuff is happening across the board. So I'm going to try and identify where we're at in those patterns, and hopefully be able to post something over the weekend. So hopefully you found this one interesting and informative. Thank you for watching.